Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Today we are doing a hands-on webinar. We haven't done a lot of those this year, so I'm excited about that. It's going to be on how to use Glue data in Power BI. Working with Glue data in Power BI, of course, means that you're working with the Glue API and extracting data from there, which can be done also to other tools than Power BI. But today we have a Power BI expert with us, Tobias, and he will introduce himself in a minute. But before we get to the Power BI part, just to set the frame for this webinar, let's take a brief look at the different things that you can use Glue data for in Power BI or any other tools. As you can see, I've included a few logos on here for some of the more common tools for working with data besides Power BI, just to illustrate that the API is open to any tool. But some of the things that you can use the data for in Power BI or get an overview of, because that's usually what you're looking for when you're working with data. If we look at the understand part of Glue, something that could be interesting is maybe to monitor your users, how they use your processes, which activities do they use the most, which work instruction is most sought after. But you might also be interested in knowing about improvements or versioning, process approval, having a dashboard that gives you an overview of that situation in your process landscape. When it comes to the execute part of Glue, there are a bunch of things that you can use tools like Power BI for if you pull the data there. For instance, you could even let an external system start a case in Glue, but also things like working with your form data, creating dashboards based on the input your users are putting in the forms can be very useful. And that's actually something Tobias is quite knowledgeable about. So we'll get to see more about that later. And then if we move on to the improve part of Glue, the possibilities are really endless here, because this is where you would often also combine Glue data with data from other systems, which is also something that that Tobias is doing for some of his customers, which is also quite interesting. But this is just to give you an idea of some of the options. There are, of course, many more use cases for this area, but just to sort of set the scene. And then what we're mainly going to be focusing on in this webinar is the execute and improve part of Power BI with data from Glue, because this is what you really know a lot of stuff about, Tobias. But it could be any data. It's just an example what we're going to be showing you. So Tobias, before we jump into the interesting example you brought for us, would you mind just introducing yourself a little bit so that everyone knows who you are and how what you're doing for your customers that are working with Glue?
Yeah, of course. And hello, everyone. And Louisa, thank you for having me. My name is Tobias, and I work in a small company called Refine Consulting. We started out mainly as a management consulting company, but over the years we have developed and specialized skills within process optimization, business intelligence, but also sustainability. And I would say personally I'm involved in all of these areas, but I do have a passion for data, and I'm particularly interested in how we can use the power of data to gain insights into the company we're working with, and yeah, create innovative management tools that can help us make better decisions and to gain insight of our company with the resources we have. And if you use Gluu, you also have a lot of data available for you. So we're trying to use that data to help companies gain insight into the data they got, and create some tools that can help them control processes and stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to show you today.
And that's actually something I think personally, Tobias, is quite interesting about what you guys are doing, that you have a very pragmatic approach. So like you said, what you're really trying to do is to take the data that the customer already has. They don't have to do anything extra, but the data is already there in Gluu just based on their everyday work and working in the processes. And then what you guys can do for them is to help them get that big overview and the knowledge that the data is hiding, so to say, if it's just in the system. So you guys visualize that for your customers. And I think that's pretty neat. You make the data accessible, the knowledge in the data accessible.
Yeah, because you can see something in Gluu, of course. You can see all the processes and stuff like that, but sometimes you need to get the bigger picture of your data, and that's where a program like PowerBI comes in handy. So I don't know if I should try to show you some of the dashboards that you can actually do from Gluu data.
Yes, please. We would very much like to see that. That's why we're here. And you promised us that you would even do like a teacher-student situation, taking us through how to set up dashboards as well. But yeah, let's start by seeing the actual dashboards, what you can achieve if you set up your data in right. So let's see if we can get you on the screen.
Yeah, let me know when you can see my screen, then I can try to take you through.
It should be available now. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and this is just one of the examples of a dashboard that you can make with Gluu data. This is based on data that we have on our own Gluu accounts, so it's not data from a real company, it's just some data I've entered into Gluu. But yeah, as you can see, this is a dashboard for a company that does projects, and they can win a project, they can lose projects, they can make the offers that the client has to accept or decline. So that's what we got here. But we also have something about the resources. How many hours do we need to be able to complete the different projects that we have in our pipeline? Also, how much money can we earn on these projects? And you can also see the different project leaders, how much they are in charge of when it comes to the project size and stuff like that. So this is a combination of, I think this dashboard is probably mainly data from formulas in Gluu. But as I'll show you when we jump ahead into the next couple of dashboards, you can also use the information or the data you have from tasks and when you have completed tasks to create dashboards. So this was just the first one.
Tobias, before you move on, I'm
Yeah,
sure there are already people out there with burning questions regarding, oh, that resources needed dashboard that you just showed us. How do you
yeah,
get that from Glue data? We don't necessarily have to answer the question now. If you want to go through a couple of dashboards just to show what's possible, but that's a question I get from time to time from customers. So
yeah, yeah. Um, I would say if you have a project or a case, then of course you have the case name, and then you can put a lot of data into that case name. And for this specific example, I've used a formula just to estimate how many resources I would have to use to complete this project. And then in another, you can also combine Glue data with data from other data sources. And in this case, I just have a data source in Excel where I just have the different months. And then I know I have this many resources for this month and so on. And then you can combine the data, and then you can make these graphs that shows if we use more resources than are available in our company. So yeah, that's also a good point. You can combine all different kinds of data sources in one
yeah,
dashboard.
so from what you're saying, you can basically either take a look at just all the say the running cases that you have in Glue, and then combine that with other data sources to get that overview. How many resources do we need versus how many do we have available? But you
Yeah.
can also, if you have, that's very typical for, especially for larger projects, yeah, that you have to estimate resources needed. So you could have that in a form in Glue and then compare that to another data source telling you how many resources you have available.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, and for this case, I just used Excel, but you can also connect this to your ERP system, and yeah, you can combine all sorts of data into these dashboards. You just need one key that is the same from the different sources. So you have a key to combine the different sources with.
Yeah, and we just got a question, Tobias. So just to clear that up quickly, you're absolutely right, Etienne. The data is from forms in Glue, the data that Tobias is showing you.
Yeah, yeah. I could also talk about this. This is more task related. So I have a case and I have some different milestones on this case, and I can use the planning tool to set an estimated date where I want to have this particular process or activity finished. And then I can, within Power BI, I can make some rules that colors these dates if it has been completed before the date I set as the last date of the activity, or if it has not been completed, then I can, yeah, of course, use some kind of conditional formatting to show that. And there's also some activities that haven't started, and yeah, they are, of course, have another color. This is not an updated dashboard, so that's why there are some dates that that we have passed. But maybe
And
we
that's, I
should
think,
jump to the
yeah, no, I just wanted to
so-
say, Tobias, that maybe for people that are not so used to working with case and task management or have only just started doing so, what you're hinting at here is also that, first of all, you can have dynamic reports on dashboards in Power BI. that are automatically updating themselves. And and second of all, you're referring to the case planner in Glue, and not everyone is familiar with that. It's a more advanced tool that allows you to set start and end dates for certain tasks in your case flow, which in turn gives you those milestones or gates that you can set up and then also use in your Power BI dashboards if you want to.
Yeah, exactly.
But are we about ready to see how to set it up now? Maybe.
I think we should try to see how you enter the API and set up your data in Power BI.
Great. And Tobias has been kind enough to do a recording of how to do it that we're going to share with you now. So that way we make sure that we don't have any technical glitches because switching between screens and everything. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them. We will just pause the recording if anything comes up.
Yeah.
And it will still be Tobias speaking. It's not a video with him recorded as well. So let me just see if we can get that on the screen.
Yeah.
There we go.
So now I'm just showing the main dashboard in Glue. I'll just find the pause button here. And you can see that in the first activity I've made a task where I've entered a formula. And this formula is, there is a starting date. This is for a construction company. But that could be, the case actually doesn't matter because you could do this in all companies. But for this case, I've said that we are a construction company and we have some different dates that we have to compile to. We also have some information about the project, and that's the information that I can take from Glue and then put into my Power BI report. So this is just to show you that I'm using the formula. And here I'm just showing another example. So when you are on the overview side, you go to account settings and you go to integrations. Mine is in Danish, but I think it should look more or less the same on other versions. And then on this view, you can see that you can connect to several different Power apps. And I'm using Power BI for the most. But you can also set up Power Automate tasks and stuff like that using the API. But if you go to settings in Power BI, you can see that you can create like a token, and you probably don't have a token yet, but you can just create one and then you'll get the let's say password for your API, so you're the only one who can enter your own data from Glue. But I'm going to show you how you can do that. But you click create and then you get this token that you can copy. And then you can open this tool called Swagger, where you can see the different API calls. It has been, I don't know exactly how it has been made, but the thing is that you normally go and pick and choose between the stuff that you want to pull out from Glue. So I'll just let the video run.
And as the video is running, Tobias, it might be worth mentioning that what you see in Swagger is those are the endpoints that we from Glue side has made available to you. But if there's something that you don't see on the list that you would like to use in your case, then just reach out to us and we will set it up for you. make that endpoint available. We do it on a case-by-case basis. Instead of having a long list with 1,000 different endpoints that no one's using, we create them as we get the requests. So don't be afraid to ask for them.
Yeah, I've done that a lot of times. So
yeah, true.
And it's possible to get. So yeah, and here I just showed you where you can insert this token. So you get the exact URL for your data. So in this case, I'm just showing you that I can have a list of all cases from the API, and then you click try it out, and you either have to, at least for this API call, you either have to say if you want the completed tasks or if you want open tasks. So if you want the completed tasks, you have to write true for this statement. And if you want all open tasks, you have to write false here in order to get open tasks. So yeah, that's what I'm showing here. In this case, I want the open task, so I click execute, and then I get the URL below. And I can enter this into Power BI. And this is what you see when you open Power BI for the first time. I'll jump back to Swagger in a moment, but just to briefly show you that there are several ways to import your data into Power BI. There is this Get Data button that you see when you open Power BI. Then you click Web. And then you can pass in the URL, including your token, which connects you directly to the Gluu data. I think it's loading right now. Yeah, in this window you are able to transform your data in Power Query. And now I'm deleting this query because in this window you can also import data, and I think I'm going to show you how you can do that as well. You can also click on this transform data. And then you can connect to a new source. And also connect to a web URL.
So Tobias, that you would do that if you wanted to combine different data sources, either multiple endpoints from Gluu or also data sources from other systems. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So you can connect to different data sources. In the Power BI app, there are some data sources that are made available, but you can also connect to URLs and other APIs. And then to the left here, you can see all the different data sources you are connected to, and those are the data sources you can then combine. If you have some things at least that are in common between the two data sources. I'm also going to show you how you can do that. Now we're jumping back to Swagger, and I think in this video I'm just showing one more example of a URL. Now I'm just connecting, so we have some data to work with. And then, as you can see right now, I have two data sources, and it has loaded in the third one, and right now I'm renaming it so I can also control my different data sources. And So I know which data source I have to use for which problem in my Power BI. Yeah, and I'm just showing the list of data or of endpoints that you can get. And then I'm using I'm taking all form data using this API.
Tobias, could you maybe talk a little bit about also the difference between working with task data, open completed tasks, versus working with form data? Because I know that when you pull form data, you tend to get a lot of data.
And you can also say that when you work with task data, it's probably more dynamic than when you work with form data, because you complete your task during the day and during your week. So that will probably change more than your formula data. I know that you can also reopen forms, and then you can manipulate your data again and make into new dates if you have a date form, for example. But I can see that we also have a question about formulas. And just to answer that,
should I put it on the screen maybe like this? Yeah.
You add your formulas, or you enter your data in the formulas in Glue, and then you connect to the formulas in Power BI. And as you can see right now on the screen, I actually am connected to the form data, and then I have all the different columns with different form headers. It's kind of hard to explain, but maybe if I run the video, then you'll be able to see what I mean. I think right now I'm just cleaning up my data to show that you probably have a lot of different columns in when you import your data, and just to get a better overview, it's nice to just clean up your data. To answer your question, you enter your data in Glue, and then you pull it out into Power BI, and then you can use the different things that you have entered in your form data in Glue. You can visualize that in Power BI. I think that's maybe the best way I can explain it. And let me know if you meant something else about your question.
And so what you're doing here, Tobias, in the video is just that you're removing some of the form data that you do not need for your
exactly.
Power BI dashboard.
I'm cleaning my data. There is a lot of columns that I don't need in this view. I'm giving the columns some names that I can use for my project, that makes it easier for me just to make my reports. I'm setting dates so it only shows the dates and not the time and stuff like that. I can rename columns and stuff like that. I can also filter. And now I'm jumping to another video where I show that, okay, now we have loaded in our data from the Glue API. So in this video that just begun, I'll show how you can then create some tables and graphs from the data that you have. So yeah, I have loaded in 4 different endpoints from Glue. And you can, right now I'm just showing you that I have not yet created some relationships between the different tables. So right now it doesn't show me some correct results when I try to combine different tables or different endpoints from Glue. So first you have to go to this relationship and then create the relationships between the different tables that you have. And Glue has made some keys available that you can connect. In this case, I could connect case workflow in the 2 different tables, and in the next table I can then connect the form data, and then I have a relationship between the 3 tables here, which makes me able to create some graphs and tables. So now I have created the relationship. And yeah, once again, I think I'm just showing how you can sort of clean up your data. Yeah, and then I'm going to pull in once again a table to show you that now when the data is connected, I can connect the different cases with the formula data, or the data from forms. Before it just showed the same number all the way down, but now it's actually showing me, yeah, I can just pause here. Now it's actually showing me for the different projects what I've entered in the formula for the task that belongs to that project. So in this case, it's an offer sum, and I've made that for the 4 different projects that I've made in my Power BI, or sorry, in Glue. Yeah, and I'm also showing that you can pull all the data into your table, and then you can start having the same, not exact of course, but some of the same tables as I showed you in the beginning of this session.
So this is really the fun part, Tobias, when you got all your data in from Glue to Power BI, then you get to connect it, and as long as there's connections, you can pretty much create any table or any graph that you want.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all interactive, so if you click on the different graphs and tables, then it will show you the effect on other tables as well. So yeah, you can do a lot of fun stuff when you're investigating your data. Yeah, and I think that was the video. That was how you upload the data into Power BI, or connect your data to Power BI. And then briefly how you can create tables and graphs. And of course I didn't have much time to do it now, but of course you can do all kinds of formatting so it fits your personal, what can you say? So also, so it fits your company colors and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I saw some of the tables that you made for some of your customers, and they're very personalized or customized with logos and colors and everything. So there are quite a lot of opportunities there as well.
Yeah, exactly. You can also, in Glue, you can actually show your your dashboards directly. There is an Insight tab in Glue. So within Glue, you can actually see your Power BI dashboards. And that's just nice if you can also have that fit into the Glue environment. So
yeah, and it's you also find that in your account settings, you have a little tab called Insights or Report. I can't remember exactly. And you just well, Tobias, maybe you are better at explaining how do you get your exact Power BI dashboard there.
yeah, when you have finished your Power BI dashboard in the Power BI app, you can upload it to Power BI Service, which is an cloud app for Power BI. And in Power BI Service, you can make all kinds of links to your report, and you can make embedded files. So you can embed it on your website, and you can embed it in Glue. I think I can show you where you can embed it in Glue as well.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just trying to share my screen.
It should be visible now.
Yeah. So in the account settings, there is this report button, and you can actually. Oh, wasn't it here?
Maybe it's not on that account,
No.
actually, Tobias. No.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
that's probably why. But you're right.
Yeah.
That's you would go to your account settings, and then you have it there. If you have trouble finding it, then let us know and we'll help you out if you don't see it on your account as well. But it's just what you like Tobias said, what you're able to do is that you can select a Power BI or any other report that you want to show in Glue, and then that automatically gives you an Insights extra little tab in your site navigation where your users can see that same report. You're doing that for one of your customers, Tobias. Maybe could you share with us what they're using it for? Why do they want that report in Glue?
Yeah, they are working on several projects at the same time, and they are several project leaders. And sometimes they just need to know, okay, we have this deadline for when we have to make an offer for our customer. And then instead of finding the actual project and going into a specific formula and stuff, then we have just made that formula or that small field in the formula available in a table view, actually. And then they can sort and find their own name and see, okay, I need to react to these projects within this week. And it's just a fast way of doing it. So that's one of the reasons why they have chosen to do so. Because of course you can also find all of this information within Glue, but sometimes you just need another overview that Glue maybe doesn't give you, and then you can create some custom reports that will fit your needs.
And I think it's a very good example of where the data becomes a useful tool for them in their everyday work, because there are multiple project leaders working on multiple projects at the same time. And in their case, you, as far as I know, you also combined Glue data with other data like finance data, cost of projects, that kind of thing, and the different milestones that they have. And it makes it very easy for their project leaders to know exactly which task to work on as the next one.
Yeah, exactly.
Without having to go to multiple systems to get that information. Very good. We have a few minutes left, Tobias, and if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them. And I know there's at least one question that we should address after doing this how-to webinar, because I mean, for me, I'm not a very technical person, so I don't work in Power BI on a daily basis or at all, really. But looking at this demo, I'm like, oh, that looks pretty easy. Maybe I could do that.
Yeah.
What would be your recommendation if you're a Glue customer and you would like to start using Power BI? How do you get started, and is it even feasible to do it yourself if you don't know anything about Power BI, or should you maybe hire a consultant to help you out with the first dashboard or two, or how would you go about it?
Yeah, it depends, but you can't do these dashboards yourself. Of course, I would recommend that you start with some simple dashboards that just shows you the data the way you want it to be shown. When you get more advanced, you can also create calculations within your data. So you have one date here and you have another date here, and you have to calculate the time difference between the two dates. That's when it gets a little more advanced. You can still do it. There's plenty of videos on YouTube on how to do stuff like this. Yeah, I would recommend do some simple dashboards yourself, and if you don't have time, then there is a lot of Power BI experts available, and we are also available for doing stuff like this. And
yeah, and the great thing about you guys is that you're already very familiar with Glue, so you don't have to, introduce the people you hire to that side of things.
No.
But I think it's also fair to say, Tobias, that the Glue API is pretty straightforward. So even if you have other consultants that you usually use, maybe you have other Power BI dashboards in your company already set up, and you just want to add some Glue data as well to these dashboards, then it's not a big deal. The API is easy to use to get the data that you need, even though you're not that familiar with the rest of the functionality in Glue.
Yeah. And I would just say you can spend 5 hours on a dashboard and it will look great, but you can also spend 100 hours on a dashboard if you want to see some particular stuff from your data. And so it depends on how advanced you want your dashboards to be.
And how many data sets from different data sources you want to combine.
You need to connect and combine.
Yeah, that makes sense. Tobias, do you have anything to add as a last comment? Because
I don't think I have anything to add. I hope that I showed at least how the integration works and what you can achieve from Glue data.
I definitely think you did, and I hope everyone else got something out of it too. I most certainly learned something new today, so that was nice.
Perfect.
Just as a final comment for this webinar, as always, if you are interested in using this feature in Glue, please reach out to us. We're happy to help. We do not build integrations for you, but if you have any questions on how to connect to the API, or if there, like I mentioned earlier, any endpoints that you're missing, let us know, and we'll help you out with that, definitely. The recording will be available also after this webinar if you want to share it with some of your colleagues as well. So Tobias, thank you very much for showing us how to use Glue data in Power BI, and thank you to everyone who joined the webinar and watched it with us. See you guys for the next one. Bye.